And also she's kind of the first villain Disney ever had. So it's really that I grew up watching in the old animated movie.
Now, with Snow White officially a flop, Rachel Zegler's future in Hollywood is crumbling.
And it's not just like professionally enjoying working with them. You know, we treated this film with such honor to the original film, and you know, you need to respect the classic, and essentially this was the movie that really started Disney.
I don't really like the term woke because I think it's an umbrella term that I'm not 100% sure I even know what it means, and one could argue that sometimes it's used too liberally.
You don't need these folks to be social justice warriors, right? If you're in a Disney movie, be in a Disney movie, be excited, be happy. I'm not looking to you for answers on foreign conflicts. You know what I'm saying?
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
Tell me, are you against me too? Are you? Yes or no?
Already has a legal team prepared to take action against Zegler after Gal claimed that Zegler's political issues with Gal behind the scenes indirectly caused Gadot to lose multiple movie roles in the industry after studios picked up on the drama and what was going on over at Disney. Disney's trying to delay the process of putting this movie on Disney Plus. They don't really want to put it on there immediately. They don't want it on there as early as May. So they are delaying that process quite significantly because they know once it goes on there, they're probably going to get round two of backlash related to this movie for those that were perhaps not willing to go ahead and see it in theaters and wanted to actually check it out on Disney Plus instead. The way I see it is if you want to have a successful project, then you need to have a very competent team along with competent and well-behaved co-stars. When you are promoting a film is when you begin to get very political. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to see that. When you are an actress, that's your job. We are not politicians. We are here to act.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Rachel Zegler was ready to speak. Gal Gadot made sure she didn't. What began as a $270 million Disney remake quickly spiraled into one of Hollywood's ugliest off-screen battles. Snow White didn't just flop at the box office, it triggered legal threats, canceled interviews, and a behind-the-scenes feud so toxic, it forced Disney to cancel their streaming commentary entirely. The trigger? Rachel's viral soundbites, her politics, and a now-deleted post that lit the match between two co-stars on opposite ends of a global controversy. Gal Gadot didn't respond with tweets, she responded with lawyers. 3 legal warnings later, Rachel's entire PR comeback was shut down. This isn't just a messy press tour, it's a career-altering scandal.
You know, there's magic, and there's talking forests and animals that act in human ways and such. But probably the biggest aspect of disbelief you have to suspend is the idea that Gal Gadot, as the wicked witch here, as the evil stepmother, is somehow less good-looking than Rachel Zegler.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
A silent war waged through legal teams and a studio scrambling to avoid more fallout. What happened between Gal and Rachel is no fairy tale, it's a warning. And it's only getting uglier. So what really happened behind the scenes of Disney's biggest disaster? Who's lying, who's leaking, and who's about to be Hollywood's next cautionary tale? Stick around, because this fairy tale didn't end with a kiss. It ended with a subpoena. For months, Disney executives clung to the idea that Snow White could still bounce back. Despite online backlash, awkward interviews, and a press tour that turned into a minefield, they hoped the name and the budget would carry it through. After all, this was Disney's Snow White, the blueprint of every princess fantasy. How could it possibly fail? But fail it did, spectacularly, with a production budget estimated north of $270 million, including reshoots, digital effects, and international marketing. Snow White needed to crush opening weekend. Instead, it limped out of the gate. Domestic earnings stalled.
Snow White star Rachel Zegler is entering the chat telling Allure she struggles to meet supportive women in Hollywood. Quote, "All I'm ever really looking for in this business is a sister, and they're not always easy to find. I really do believe in championing your co-workers whether you're close with them or not."
International interest? Nearly non-existent. Within the first 3 weeks, theaters began quietly pulling the film from their lineups. From a launch across over 3,700 theaters, the count plunged to just over 2,500 by week 4, and it kept dropping. For comparison, even Haunted Mansion, a smaller Disney flop, managed a longer run. Analysts were stunned, fans were confused, but those behind the scenes weren't. They knew exactly why this happened, and it had nothing to do with dwarfs or dresses. According to insiders, the audience didn't just reject the film, they rejected the narrative around the film. Between Rachel Zegler's viral clips mocking the 1937 original and labeling the princess as a weird girl waiting for a guy to rescue her, and the studio's silence on mounting controversies, the public sentiment soured fast. Social media turned brutal. TikToks roasted the film's tone-deaf reimagining. Reddit threads dug into deleted tweets, and YouTube critics dubbed it Disney's most avoidable failure. But perhaps the most telling red flag? Disney abruptly delayed the film's Disney Plus release, a move rarely made unless there's internal panic. Instead of using the platform to revive interest, the company chose to wait out the storm, fearing a second wave of backlash even more devastating than the first.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
It's a telling statement given what our source describes as tension between Rachel and her evil queen co-star, Gal Gadot.
And while execs tried to save face, one name kept surfacing in every whisper: Rachel Zegler, the face of the film, the voice of controversy. And depending on who you believe, the person who turned a princess reboot into a box office cautionary tale. But the implosion was just the surface. Behind it, a political PR nightmare was brewing, and it was about to go nuclear. The red carpet was rolled out, but the spotlight quickly turned scorching. What should have been a feel-good press tour for a Disney remake spiraled into one of the most talked-about PR disasters in recent Hollywood memory. And it all started with a microphone, a viral clip, and a message that rubbed millions the wrong way. Rachel Zegler, once hailed as a fresh voice in a legacy franchise, began alienating her audience before the film even hit theaters. In interviews, she casually dismissed the original 1937 Snow White as weird and extremely outdated, criticizing the classic love story and hinting that her version of Snow White wouldn't be saved by a man. At first, fans chalked it up to Gen Z confidence, but then she kept going. The backlash built slowly, then exploded. TikToks dissected her quotes. YouTubers amplified the soundbites. One moment in particular, where Rachel smugly says she wouldn't be caught dead dreaming about true love.
Rachel made no mention of Gal inside Allure's cover story, out now, but did say her strong circle of women
ignited weeks of commentary. And while the internet fumed, Disney did. Nothing. No clarification, no pivot, just silence. But it wasn't just about the fairy tale. That's where things took a darker turn. In mid-2024, Rachel posted a now-deleted message in support of Palestine during one of the most politically sensitive moments of the year. The message read, "Always remember, free Palestine." Almost immediately, controversy exploded. Disney insiders reportedly panicked, and Gal Gadot, Rachel's co-star and an Israeli citizen who served in the IDF, became a target for online abuse and even death threats. Disney was forced to increase Gal's security. Studio reps scrambled to separate the cast's personal beliefs from the project, but the damage was done. Insiders say a tense private meeting took place between Rachel and one of the film's producers, Mark Platt. The goal? Stop the bleeding. But by then, it was too late. The internet had chosen sides. And Rachel, once the empowered poster girl for the new Snow White, was being cast as the face of everything wrong with Disney's direction. The press tour was officially over, but the backlash? That was just beginning. And while Rachel doubled down, Gal Gadot started plotting something far more strategic and far more dangerous.
It's no surprise Rachel was not there earlier today when Gal received her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh my God, thank you.
While Rachel Zegler's soundbites dominated headlines and outrage mounted by the minute, Gal Gadot played a very different game. quiet, calculated, and deadly effective. On March 19th, Gal posted a cheerful reel from Disneyland. At first glance, it seemed innocent, just another actor doing Disney press, but fans noticed something: the timing, the tone, the fact that Gal wasn't addressing the controversy at all. Instead, she was smiling on rides, laughing with fans, and radiating the very thing audiences felt Disney had lost: joy. And suddenly, the comments flooded in. This is what Disney used to be. Gal's the only one who gets it. Replace Rachel with her. Without saying a single word about the drama, Gal rebranded herself as the antidote to Rachel's chaos. No political speeches, no viral tweets, just classic Disney charm. But behind that smile,
Gal's spirits were high despite pro-Palestinian protesters chanting just outside the tent. She posed with husband Yaron and all 4 daughters.
There was a storm brewing. Multiple insiders now confirm that Gal wasn't just disappointed in the film's performance. She was furious at what it cost her. The chatter among casting agents? Gal had lost 4 to 5 major roles in the months following the Snow White PR disaster. Studios grew wary, not of her, but of the drama that followed her name. And Gal knew exactly where that drama came from. According to reports, Rachel had been planning a full media tour to tell her truth. And Gal caught wind of it fast. Appearances on The Drew Barrymore Show, Howard Stern, and even niche podcasts that leaned in Rachel's favor were already being booked. But before Rachel could speak, Gal made her first move. She sent legal notice, then another, then a third. By the time that third warning landed, Rachel's entire PR comeback was dead in the water. She canceled everything. And while Rachel's silence looked like a retreat, Gal's message to the industry was loud and clear. She would not be the scapegoat. Still, the real bomb hadn't dropped yet, because what Gal did next didn't just stop Rachel. It set fire to Disney's carefully planned streaming release. By now, most celebrities would have fired back, posted a cryptic story, gone on a podcast, done something, but not Rachel Zegler. Because by the time her media tour was lined up and ready to go, Gal Gadot's lawyers had already taken the stage. And they weren't bluffing. Sources close to the production reveal that Gal didn't just send 1 legal notice, she sent 3, each escalating in severity.
With just 3 days to go before Snow White hits theaters, Gal did not do any interviews in a move that sure seems like Disney damage control amid the controversy surrounding the film.
The third one was the game changer. It didn't just advise Rachel to stop talking, it allegedly warned of serious legal consequences if she moved forward with public statements that could damage Gal's reputation or career. And Rachel backed off. Within days, every planned appearance vanished. The Drew Barrymore Show? Canceled. Howard Stern? Pulled. The podcasts that were sympathetic to her side? Quietly scrubbed from schedules. Rachel Zegler, who once had the internet buzzing with political takes and fiery interviews, went completely silent. No TikToks, no PR spins, just gone. So, what had she planned to say? Insiders claim Rachel was gearing up to shift the blame, accusing Gal of being the actual political problem behind the scenes. She wanted to paint herself as the misunderstood one, saying Gal made filming difficult, that she was the reason the cast dynamic collapsed, and that the movie flopped because of internal creative sabotage. But Gal had receipts. According to reports, she told her legal team that Rachel's version of events was demonstrably false, and she was willing to fight it in court if needed.
The live-action remake of Disney's Snow White, titled Snow Woke and the 7 Virtue Signals, has become a focal point of controversy following a public clash between its stars, Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot.
Not just to shut down false narratives, but because Gal believed Rachel's political controversies cost her actual work, roles, contracts, opportunities. And in Hollywood, that's career damage you can't just shrug off. And then came the final blow. Disney, already scrambling from the fallout, made a drastic call. They canceled the Snow White commentary track for the Disney Plus release, a special behind-the-scenes feature that was supposed to include Gal, Rachel, and the director, Andrew Burnap. It would have been an easy way to boost engagement. But after the legal threats, Disney didn't dare put them in the same virtual room. It was more than a PR failure. It was a meltdown. And suddenly the entire industry was watching. Not just the feud, but the fallout. Because what happened between Gal and Rachel was no longer just personal. It was professional war. What started as a feud between 2 co-stars has now morphed into something far bigger. Hollywood is rattled. And not just because a $270 million Disney film flopped. The Gal Gadot versus Rachel Zegler saga has become a textbook example of how fast a press tour can spiral into a legal crisis. And now, studio execs are scrambling to make sure it never happens again. Behind closed doors, agents are talking.
The conflict stems from their differing views on the Israel-Palestine issue, which has overshadowed the film's release and sparked significant media attention. Zegler, who plays the titular role, ignited the controversy with a tweet stating "Free Palestine" shortly after the film's teaser was released.
Casting directors are taking notes. And according to multiple insider leaks, some of the industry's biggest studios are already rewriting their playbooks. The message? If you're casting for a high-stakes franchise, you'd better screen your actors' Twitter feeds as hard as their auditions. Some executives are reportedly pushing for public conduct clauses in new contracts, language that limits political commentary during press tours, especially for family-friendly projects. Others are reconsidering whether it's even worth casting rising Gen Z stars with massive online followings, fearing that a single controversial post could derail years of production work. And the ripple effect is already being felt. Sources say Rachel Zegler is now being labeled a high-risk liability in casting meetings. One former executive allegedly told a trade outlet, "It doesn't matter how talented you are. If your name comes with a PR landmine, you're not worth the risk." Gal, on the other hand, is playing chess. Her decision to go the legal route without ever firing a public shot has earned her quiet respect in an industry desperate for predictability. Studio heads reportedly see her as someone who handled a PR crisis like an adult, and that alone may be enough to land her new deals, even in the wake of a failed movie. It's a reversal no one expected. Gal, who played the villain in the film,
This statement led to backlash against Gadot, an Israeli actress who has openly supported her country's position in the ongoing conflict. The fallout resulted in Gadot receiving threats, prompting Disney to enhance her security during promotional events.
now looks like the real-world hero to executives who crave stability. Meanwhile, Rachel, cast as the heroine, is being treated as a cautionary tale, a reminder that one viral soundbite can be far more destructive than a bad Rotten Tomatoes score. But Disney isn't off the hook either, because the next remake is already in development, and everyone's wondering if the studio has learned a single thing from this mess. While Gal Gadot played her legal cards and Rachel Zegler vanished from the press circuit, Disney was left holding the wreckage. The company had banked everything on Snow White being a global win, a way to recapture the legacy magic, modernize a classic, and reinforce its grip on the family-friendly blockbuster space. Instead, they walked into a branding minefield. The moment controversy began swirling, Disney's usual marketing machine went eerily quiet. No big statements, no damage control, just delayed decisions and a lot of internal finger-pointing. According to leaks from inside the studio, Bob Iger and other top execs were deeply frustrated by how the project spiraled. Not just the film's performance, but the optics. A beloved princess reboot collapsing under online outrage and cast infighting. It got so bad that the Los Angeles premiere was scaled back. No glitzy red carpet, limited press access. A press tour that had already fizzled out turned into a whisper campaign behind the scenes. Then came the Disney Plus delay. Originally slated for a spring streaming release, Snow White quietly disappeared from internal schedules. Why? Because the studio wasn't just worried about low viewership, they were terrified of a second backlash.
As the film struggled at the box office, earning only $87.3 million in its opening weekend, speculation arose that the discord between the two actresses contributed to its lackluster performance.
Executives feared that viewers who had skipped the film in theaters would stream it just to hate watch and fuel the controversy all over again. Reddit threads, YouTube breakdowns, TikTok takedowns, it would have been a PR bloodbath. And in a move that truly confirmed the chaos, Disney killed the special commentary track for the film's streaming rollout. It was supposed to feature Rachel, Gal, and director Andrew Burnap in a casual, behind-the-scenes conversation. But putting Rachel and Gal on the same recording after weeks of legal threats? Unthinkable. The feature was shelved. No announcement, no explanation, just gone. Insiders say the company is now rethinking how it handles its live-action remakes. Quiet discussions are happening about future princess films, less reimagining, tighter control over cast messaging, and a return to timeless appeal over trendy politics. But let's be real, damage like this doesn't vanish overnight. Not when the entire internet's still watching, and not when one star's next move could determine whether this mess ever really ends. After weeks of silence, Rachel Zegler finally resurfaced, but not with the media tour she once planned. Instead, she pivoted hard, announcing a role in an upcoming indie dramedy titled She Gets It From Me, directed by Julia von Heinz. It's a smaller film, far from the spotlight of a billion-dollar franchise. And to many in the industry, it looked more like damage control than a comeback. Online, Rachel attempted to reframe the narrative. She shared an emotional TikTok, crying on camera and urging fans to support her work. But instead of sympathy, many saw it as performative, a calculated move from someone who had spent months pushing buttons, only to fold under pressure. And the silence from Disney? Deafening. No public support, no defense, no forward-facing roles in the pipeline. Insiders say casting agents have cooled on her, afraid she brings too much noise to an already fragile market. For a moment, Rachel looked like Disney's next leading lady. But now, she's the face of a PR storm, dodging subpoenas instead of shooting scenes. And while she tries to rebuild quietly, Gal Gadot is already playing her next move, and it's anything but small. Gal Gadot isn't just walking away clean, she's walking into new deals. Industry insiders say she's in talks for a high-budget spy thriller, with studios now seeing her as the no-drama professional. She stayed silent, struck legally, and let the facts speak. Snow White was meant to inspire, but instead, it imploded. Rachel's rise stalled. Gal's silence roared. And Disney? Still sweeping up glass slippers? In the end, this wasn't a fairy tale comeback. It was a legal case in a tiara.